So the first one is Sesame Street Field Trips. This is a really fun series that is just shaping up to look really good, taking kids on all sorts of virtual field trips after a year when no one was going on any actual field trips. Topics cover commonly studied community sites such as farms and fire stations. So also getting at community helpers, and a back matter feature encourages a post-trip hands-on activity that revolves around the title topic. Like for example, in farm, it's planting a seed and growing a plant at home. And then also in Sesame is a single title. This is going to be super cute. It's How to Make a Friend, or 5-minute friendship starters. It is about how to make friends, how to connect with others. As we saw in the bestsellers, social emotional is very much in demand, and this fits right in. It includes conversation starters and easy games, ways to show that you care for someone. So it really helps kids connect with others, which I think is much needed right now, but in age-appropriate ways. There's a feature called a buddy bonus that gives other ideas like joke and game ideas. Be a good sport and pull ahead readers. So again, it's GRL A through D, paired fiction, nonfiction, as all pull ahead is. We are really excited for this series to hit the market. It came out of a brainstorming session with customers who were very excited about this topic because they said they couldn't find almost anything on it, yet it was much needed. So we're excited to see how these do. Obviously, they're photo-driven nonfiction, and then cute illustrated stories covering topics like taking turns and how to lose well. And Mighty Dinosaurs. So this is a series on the most popular dinosaurs, including the Brontosaurus, which was reinstated as its own dinosaur in 2015 after being rudely lumped together with Apatosaurus for many years. So there aren't too many recent books on Brontosaurus, so we think that will do very well. They are very kind of realistic, as far as we know, looking illustrations rather than kind of cartoony illustrations. So it adds to the appeal of the series. And all the standard Bumba features apply, such as critical thinking questions and sort of photo glossaries. Let's make observations in Early Bird. So this is an entertaining illustrated series following a set of diverse characters as they explore the world around them and make observations of nature, such as animal behavior or weather patterns. Each book includes critical thinking questions as well as recall questions to further reader engagement. And there is also a hands-on activity that is available via eSource for each book. And Early Bird readers, this season we have Blue. Blue covers GRL E through G. They are, primarily just silly, fun to read stories, but they do touch on some social emotional themes, such as fitting in with others, being shy. There is a quiz at the end of each book that also tests comprehension. And Phonics Fun. So this is a series from award-winning author Brian Cleary, who uses his trademark humor to engage readers in letter sounds such as vowels and diphthongs. Only Brian Cleary could make diphthongs fun, and he does. Each book hones on specific skills that builds reader confidence. And World's Grossest. So this is an UpDog, our high-low brand. All the text is 1 to 2 reading level, but interesting for middle or even upper elementary students and beyond. Definitely don't read these books on a full stomach. They have some eye-catching photos. There is the Up Next feature at the end of each chapter to motivate readers to keep going, and there's also a disgusting diagram middle spread that gives readers a break from reading the text in the form of a labeled diagram in the middle. Lightning Bolt. This is kind of a high interest and curricular topic, looking at weather and natural processes on Earth that sometimes evolve into dangerous storms and events. Readers will learn about how the events happen, how to stay safe, and the role of climate change, importantly, how that plays into natural disasters. And typical of Lightning Bolt, these books have really just an approachable design, easily accessible text. There's also an I Survived back matter feature telling a true survivor tale related to each topic. And my style, these are turning out to look really fun. They are titles looking at the history of fashion, identifying trends, providing really inclusive tips and tricks for developing a personal style, from hair care to accessories, so readers can kind of learn how to make their own look. They really are looking good. I think the editorial and design teams are both doing a great job at focusing on inclusivity throughout and making sure that there are tips and tricks that are helpful for people of various ethnicities and genders. The next Searchlight is World Traveler. This is a country series, perfect for report writers. It contains all the features or all the need-to-know information for country reports, such as population, capital cities, languages spoken. A couple other fun features. There's a must-see stop highlight that looks at a famous or scenic or otherwise significant destination in each country. And there's also a Let's Celebrate sidebars that go more in depth into specific celebrations or festivals in the country. We are also using content consultants for all of these titles to make sure we're covering the content with accuracy and sensitivity. And then we are into Lerner Sports, so I will throw this part over to John.
First of all is Greatest of All Time Players. Sports fans love to read about the greatest athletes of all time. Lerner Sports' next GOAT series, Greatest of All Time Players, explores the best athletes at the most important positions in sports in a fun top 10 list format. The launch set includes summer sports and covers the greatest soccer goalkeepers such as Hope Solo and Iker Casillas, the best baseball outfielders like Mike Trout and Willie Mays, and many more. Next up is Sports All-Stars. This is the final season of Sports All-Stars, the series that launched back in spring 17 to replace Amazing Athletes. With the 6 spring 22 editions, we'll have 73 titles in Sports All-Stars. Spring 22 includes 2 of the NBA's hottest players in Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal, WNBA legend Sue Bird, NFL powerhouses Aaron Donald and Josh Allen, and Juan Soto, a rising MLB superstar. Super sports teams. Filled with thrilling action, incredible moments, and jaw-dropping stats, Super Sports Teams explores the most popular teams in pro sports. Learn about the history, greatest players, championships that make these teams iconic with sports fans. The spring launch set, which will hopefully be the beginning of a long-running series, covers the top 6 teams in Major League Baseball: the Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, Los Angeles Dodgers, New York Yankees, San Francisco Giants, and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Another Alternator series, The Real Science of Superpowers. This is a fun one looking at actual science behind superpowers like flying at the speed of light, invisibility, time travel. Readers will learn the laws of nature that make these powers impossible, but also what scientists are doing to try to make them a reality. And some examples from John, who edited these. Scientists are developing exoskeletons for everyday use that will allow anyone to lift 200 pounds or more. Metamaterials that will make objects literally invisible, or at least close enough to fool the human eyes. And then mind tech interfaces that will allow people to control their computers, cars, and other devices without touching them. And Read Woke. As I said, we're very excited for this next installment in the Read Woke brand, of course, in partnership with Cicely Lewis. This is an examination of slavery in America that balances accounts of oppression with true stories of resistance and resilience, using primary sources and centering the voices of enslaved people. This series was developed using the Teaching Hard History guidelines from the Learning for Justice organization that I mentioned. Another thing I'm really excited about in these is a spread linking to audio recordings from the 1930s. They're sourced from the Library of Congress, and they are interviews with freed enslaved people. and there's some text to kind of give context and ask readers to reflect on what they've heard in the audio recordings. So it's a really unique feature that I think will set these books apart. And I just wanted to read a very little bit from Cicely's letter in the beginning of these books. She always has a letter in the beginning of Read Woke series. She says, growing up, I learned about Black history only in February. There was a small section in our history textbook about slavery, and then we discussed the civil rights movement. That was it. I always wondered about my ancestors. Did they fight back? How could someone own another human being? What happened between slavery and the civil rights movement? As an educator, I want to make sure my students never feel this way. I want you to know Black history didn't begin with slavery. Neither Abraham Lincoln nor the civil rights movement ended racism. Black people have always fought back. She says, I want to share the strength, power, joy, complexity, and beauty of Black history. So I think this is shaping up to be a much needed series in the market. And gateways, we've got a great selection of gateways this season. Amanda Gorman, much in the news after her inaugural poetry reading, and she continues to be high profile as she continues to publish. And of course, Stacey Abrams, who is much in the news for her critical work in safeguarding the right to vote. And LeBron James. And finally, we have a Deciones. This is a Spanish version of our step-by-step series. They cover processes like life cycles of a butterfly or a frog, or how things like crayons and chocolate are made. And as with the English version, these titles contain lots of big photos and very simple step-by-step text.